What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Plus Added Time here on Project Dits. My name, as always, is Nathan. Darragh. Hello, sir.
Back again, still in the building, haven't left. Can't because lockdown.
Yeah, that's the only reason you still have a job.
Literally can't leave. They've been trying to get rid of me for weeks.
But first off, we beat you handedly.
You did.
How do you feel?
I definitely watched the game. So, just took it very hard, yeah.
You disappointed?
Sure, whatever you want. I've very little opinion, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, just a random friendly to get played during the most critical of times.
Yeah, the Nations League is where it's at. If it's not Nations League, forget the Premier League and Champions League. These are the trophies we need to be winning.
Oh, we are going to definitely do a whole podcast dedicated to the Nations League.
Back by popular demand.
It seems like a long time ago since there was any football we cared about.
I know, it's not even been a week. That's just how terrible it's been, isn't it?
That is just what lockdown. Time is a flat circle at the minute. At time of recording, it's been 5 days since there was a Premier League match. It feels like about 3 weeks, but we'll jump straight into Liverpool, who are the big topic at the minute because Joe Gomez went off on international duty, and as he does every time he goes on international duty, he gets injured. Virgil van Dijk is injured. Fabinho is injured. Matip, I'm not sure if he's injured, but it's Matip, so I'm going to presume he is.
By the time this comes out, he will be injured somehow.
And Mo Salah, unfortunately, in touchwood, he's okay. Has contracted COVID whilst on international duty. Darragh, you crying at the moment?
I was earlier, but we prepare when we're starting the show, so I've made sure to set the alarm and finish my crying up 20 minutes in advance. But yeah, it's not a good look. Not a good looking team, even, is it? Very, a lot of it, well, not suspensions and injuries. Well, yeah, it is injuries. Sorry, but yeah, what do you think at the current stage?
I think you got to look at who you're playing next, and with Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool, no matter what, you can't write you guys off. And but you do have Leicester next. Leicester, who have hit form ever since they heard my pep talk about 3 weeks ago.
Give the ball to Vardy.
Give the ball to Vardy, and they have been doing that. I am slightly concerned for you guys going into this weekend because I know you guys suddenly started hyping up that Williamson because he looks a bit like Virgil van Dijk. But if it's Williams, sorry, if it's him and Fabinho or Matip, sorry, at the back against the pace of Jamie Vardy and Harvey Barnes, who has hit form recently, James Maddison suddenly looking good. I'm worried what happened to City might happen to you guys.
Exactly, yeah. Especially when Matip is your only, fully fit senior centre back. It's never a good look. By the time we come back from the break, it'll probably be a back four of, Tsimikas, Williams, Nathaniel Phillips, and Neco Williams. So, there's a lot of experience in that team. And Alisson will find a way to get injured as well. So, Adrian, return of the king.
Return of the King. I just think this lends to a point, and this is going to be a semi-rant, and this football podcast is quite light-hearted in nature, so it's not going to be like visceral or anything. But I just think, I know injuries, you can't predict injuries, but everything else that's going on in the world, it just seems really, really dumb that there are any internationals.
Exactly. I couldn't believe it going into the season. Even I thought the Champions League was, when it researched up, was too much too soon. But international breaks, going away to, all corners of the world, it's ridiculous, isn't it?
It just seems weird that, for instance, I wouldn't be allowed to get on a plane and come to where you are right now. But Iceland, the full international Iceland side, are allowed to fly in with all their physios and whoever else, their entourage, I guess is the best word, can fly into London to go and play football against England. Just seems staggering to me.
It's just it doesn't make any sense, is it? It makes no sense for no one.
Yeah, and neither of us are obviously scientists or anything. We don't know a lot about how this stuff works, but it just doesn't make sense that uh, we can't like pop across the road to the shop, but Man United can fly to a fully locked down Paris to beat PSG again. Like,
He
it
had
just
to slip. He had to slip that in somewhere, didn't he?
well, I just remember uh obviously this wasn't that long ago, but when we were going to Paris, like a few days before, I remember reading about there were curfews in Paris. There was like no one was allowed to leave their homes for longer than like an hour or something. And then but the full United side were allowed to rock up.
Ridiculous. Marcus Rashford strolls onto the pitch. You know, city of love. He was loving it.
He does love it. But
He loves the city of love.
speaking of Man United, we'll slide into a slight turn of fortune at the end of the weekend, battering Everton. Cavani gets his first goal. Bruno is just unstoppable at times, and all of a sudden, the Jekyll and Hyde that is Manchester United, they were in a good mood against an Everton side that people expected a little bit more from.
Pretty good, wasn't it? Yeah, Carlo Ancelotti, 3 consecutive defeats for the first time since 2006. I remember seeing. But obviously, in the build up to it, it was the absence of Richarlison and how Everton are supposedly a completely different team without Richarlison. And I guess, the table doesn't lie. He's missed 3 games. They've lost 3 games.
Yeah, and I think there was some slight, I guess, hyperbole in the press conference with Richarlison not long ago, where he said that Ancelotti has told him he could win the Ballon d'Or, which is laughable on the surface of it. But then I think Richarlison, I thought when he left, was it Watford?
Watford, yeah.
Yeah, Watford for Everton for 50 million quid. It, I think he has filled that price tag at Everton. I do think because he is still very young. He's only 23, isn't he?
He's something like that.
If he
Yeah,
got a big move, I mean, with Messi and Ronaldo kind of at the tail ends of their career, the Ballon d'Or. No, I'm not a big fan of the Ballon d'Or because I just think it is a load of nonsense. But it certainly wouldn't be impossible if he got a big move to somewhere. He's a damn good player.
remember he was linked with didn't Everton reject a bid from Barcelona for like 80 million or something?
It
It was
was,
something stupid like that.
yeah, I saw some journalists nonsense that, and then some other places were adamant it was real, but it is Barcelona, so I'm leaning
Yeah,
towards the side of they probably did make a stupid
yeah.
bid.
I wouldn't be surprised.
But Darragh, let's just check in. How shit are Fulham?
Um, I'd say very. Like, if you were giving me a scale, you know, it'd probably be a Richter scale because it's not looking good. Definitely a solid 9 on the Richter scale for Fulham.
Have you seen Lookman's penalty?
It was. I have never, well, maybe once or twice, but to see a player miss a Panenka penalty is just the funniest thing, isn't it? Because when it comes off, it looks genius, but it's actually laughable how bad it looks when it's saved.
It is, and when you're in injury time, like they were one down to West Ham at this point. West Ham were, from what I've read, I didn't see the game, were kind of a little bit all over them, but and then finally got lucky in the dying minutes of the game. Then give away a penalty. Up steps Lookman to Panenka it straight into the center of the goal. Easy save. A point. Bear in mind, they aren't going to get a lot of points. Them and West Brom, and I'm touching all the wood on my desk at this point because we have West Brom next. um, are
Well, I was
just
gonna say, why did
dire.
Alexander Mitrovic take the penalty? But obviously, we saw why the last night when he sent Scotland to the Euros. So they need to work on their penalties, Fulham.
Do it. And first off, congratulations to Scotland. 22 years they've waited to get back into a major tournament. They have had some cracking players over the years
Yeah.
as well who haven't made it to tournaments. But Big McSauce and Robertson wasn't playing, was he? I don't think.
He was. He
Oh,
was.
he was. I do tell her like Scott McTominay playing in a back four, perhaps his future maybe, but for Scotland he plays there because they have no other defenders
Yeah.
worth speaking about.
Scotland have never got past the first round of an international tournament, which is a little fat for you. So hopefully they do well, because obviously we're not going to the Euros. So
It's
up
just
the
so
Scots.
it's just so strange because Scotland they have had some really great players. Like in recent memory, you look at, but they just never at the same time, and now they've got entirely left backs. But with Josh McGinn, Scott McTominay, Andy Robertson, Kieran Tierney, they
Yeah.
could. There's potentially something there, and there's obviously some names on. Not forgetting Jack, which is always funny to see in a starting lineup. Just Jack,
Not Jack Grealish.
not Jack Grealish. Bet you wish you're Jack Grealish
Oh, I'd love to be Jack Grealish.
to be
Not.
Jack Grealish.
Not. There's a not on the end of that.
But Scotland, well done. And next week, for a little bit of promotion, next week on the podcast, we will have Celtic Fan TV joining us. So we'll get more into depth on presumably the hangover would have worn off by then. But all things in the SPL and Celtic in particular, and obviously we'll talk about Scotland. But Dara, are you ready to play a new segment?
I'm ready.
Are
I
you
am
ready?
ready. Are you ready? It's the main question, because you're the one.
I'm so ready. I'm so ready.
You're
I am killing time because I need to get a timer up. But
Nathan there, just getting up the timer here on plus added time.
Dara, you have 1 minute and it is
Perfect.
on the clock. I want you to name for me as many former or current Liverpool players as you can in a minute.
Okay.
3, 2, 1, go.
Alisson, Adrian, Mignolet, Karius, Reina, Dudek, Etanje, James, Grobbelaar, Clements, Finnan, Arbeloa, Carragher, Hupia, Barosh, Luis Garcia, Steven Gerrard, Javi Alonso, John Onorisa, Fabio Aurelio, Andrea De Sena, Genie Mac, Mane, Salah, Firmino, Henderson, Thiago, Wijnaldum, Milner, Lallana, Oxley, Chamberlain, Emre Can, oh God, Paul Konchesky, Sortius Kyriakos, Christian Poulsen, Milan Jovanovic, Joe Cole, um, Philip Degan, um, Patrick Berger, Heskey, Owen, Smitzer, Jamie Redknapp, Robbie Fowler, Ian Rush, Kenny Dalglish, Alan Hansen, Graham Souness, Sammy
Stop.
Lee. That was tough,
44 on my counter.
Jeez.
I will go back before I send this off and double check that, just so at the start of the podcast, or for next week, I'll give you the hopefully completely accurate score. But 44 was on my counter.
Jeez. The
There were
fact you
some
managed to
moments
count
there.
that. The fact
There
you
were
managed to
some.
count that, I'm impressed.
Well, I had the peel back the curtain. The counter was on my laptop screen, and then I've got a separate counter for like adding things up on my phone. So it was very high tech,
Professional, I love it.
professional as always. But 44, you disappointed with that?
Yeah, I would have. Yeah, when it's not till you're, in the moment, it's tough to think.
No,
I mean,
no Trent Alexander-Arnold. Was that too
no,
long a name to say in the minute?
I started obviously with the goalkeepers. I thought go by position. That's the best thing to do. And then once I got to, I think David James, I just completely blanked in my mind. And then Milan Jovanovic was coming out.
I did like the fact you kind of went through the eras there in Liverpool goalkeepers. You started out Alisson, went Adrian, threw in Dudek immediately.
It was going so well, wasn't it? But
Yeah.
the right backs caught me out.
You didn't feel like going for Jose Enrique?
Suarez or Torres, even. I could have,
Could have had
something as
Torres.
simple as that.
Yeah, you didn't have to give full names or anything. I was just looking for names, but I think 44. That's a strong opening. You're obviously top of the leaderboard.
I should hope so.
As hopefully we'll get some more people to play some of those games as we go through the weeks. But strong start. There were some real moments there where I thought you were going to quit.
So did I. I was debating just
before Mo Salah and Firmino and Mane came out.
They took a while, didn't they? They took a while. I had
Didn't
the
feel like
microphone.
Mario Balotelli.
No, we all love. Well, I say I like Mario Balotelli. I don't think many Liverpool fans do, but
No.
you know,
You remember when you had Ricky Lambert, Balotelli,
and
and
Fabio Borini.
that was it? And there was
Yeah,
that stat of how many games they played and no goals between
it
them.
was brutal. Obviously, yeah. Sturridge gets injured with England, and he missed from like August until like March, I think it was.
Mm.
Raheem Sterling was actually the player who played striker for like all of that season.
He's doing well, Sterling.
He
Over
is. He's had a decent career, but is it up there with Ricky Lambert? You know, I'm not so sure.
Well, how he was like 32 when you signed him or something like that.
He wasn't even a free transfer. We actually paid money for Ricky Lambert. It was I think it was something like 4 or 5 million, which at the time I thought brilliant. Premier League proven goal scorer. But obviously we just sold Luis Suarez at the time, and we were bringing in Ricky Lambert. It wasn't the best of looks.
It
Um,
certainly wasn't. I'm trying to think who
no,
was even available at the time that you could have got.
it was
Just anyone.
Alexi Sanchez at the time, and he turned down Liverpool and went to Arsenal instead. So we all know how that went in the end.
Yeah, yeah, he's a fantastic pianist. Is Alexis Sanchez.
Or so the PR team would have you believe.
Oh, well, you got better strikers these days. But let's head over
Well,
to somewhere just very quickly who perhaps they have a great striker who scored a decent goal, but Real Madrid.
yes,
You obviously lost Michael Owen to Real Madrid
obviously, yeah.
back in the day.
Steve McManaman as well.
Oof.
Free transfer. Imagine that. That was a free transfer. We lost Steve McManaman, probably with Fowler, our best player of the 90s, on a free transfer. Love to see that.
Steve McManaman is as fantastic a
A
player. He
great
is.
commentator.
I was about to say
I know
he
what you're
is
going
is great. He is a terrible commentator as he's great a player.
to say.
I reckon he's still a better player than he is a commentator right now.
I mean, I think I'm a better player than he is a commentator, and I'm not much of a footballer myself. Didn't make it too far up the ladder.
Uh, Real Madrid, Zidane, uh, who who obviously had an incredible playing career with Real Madrid and Juventus, and then had a terrific spell as manager of Real Madrid. But it's all gone a wee bit tits up this season. 4-1 loss to Valencia. And we spoke about this before, obviously, recording. And you went in to kind of have a look at what happened there. What did you make of the match? Because this is Valencia, a great name in football, but this is a very poor Valencia side as well.
This is a Valencia team that, like 5 years ago, had Gary Neville in charge. It's not the Rafa Benitez team of the mid 2000s that was beating Real and Barca to titles, was it?
No, this is a far cry from that, and there's numerous issues over at Valencia, which basically stem down to their owner throwing a bit of a strop and just selling everyone in the summer, and they're also going to lose Kondogbia in January already.
Wow.
But it doesn't matter when you get 3 pens and an own goal in your favour. You're
Not a
4-1 up on Valencia, on
nice,
Real Madrid. Sorry,
nice bit of fortune, that isn't it?
it's not bad, and
It's
it's
very Man
Rafael.
United. Very Man United, isn't
Well, none of
it?
them were after the final whistle, so it's not quite this United. But Real Madrid, they didn't sign anyone in the summer because of cash flow issues from COVID. Spain as a country isn't in great shape, and this is a very old squad with some young players who haven't quite made it. Is Zidane, do you think he's still going to be in charge come next summer?
It's a tough one to know, but he definitely needs to start. If it isn't Zidane, it's the next manager. It needs to start a rebuild, don't they? Because there's too many players in that team that have been starting for nearly, half a decade at this point. Tony Cruz, Luka Modric, Benzema, Ramos, they're all like 30, 33 plus.
Yeah,
So
and I think with Ramos, it's kind of he is timeless, but everyone else there I kind of agree with. I think Cruz and Modric, I think they're still there just because Real Madrid haven't sought out a replacement. I don't. I think if they had got a replacement, say in the summer, both of them would be gone. But they didn't want to spend any money. And their signings last season as well, last summer, they spent a lot of money, and they've all turned out crap. Some, like with Hazard and his injury, and now he's got injuries, sorry, and now COVID. That's not his fault.
Yeah, but even at the time, I thought not a strange signing because Hazard was obviously really good for Chelsea, but I didn't think it was. He was like 29 at the time, I think, wasn't he?
Yeah,
It
he's
seemed,
30 now.
yeah, it seemed a
Yeah.
very strange like player to put all your money behind. Is what I was thinking at the time.
It just seemed like it happened a couple of years too late.
Definitely, yeah.
Like, and 100 million quid as well. Like, on and with Hazard, when you look back through his record, he has played a lot of games without getting injured. He's incredibly consistent up until this like the last couple of seasons at Real Madrid. He'd been playing 40 plus games nearly pretty much every single season from when he left Lille.
Lil, yeah.
Yeah, and so they can't have foreseen these injury issues, and they weren't like muscular. I think his first one was a broken ankle or something. There's nothing you can do about that.
Yeah.
But it has been a bit of a nightmare.
Yeah, it's not gone well for Eden, has it?
Not in any way, shape, or form.
No. God
But
bless him.
it's not going well for anyone in La Liga really, apart from Villarreal and Valencia, really.
I think Atletico Madrid are still obviously in the Champions League. They're looking a bit kind of ropey, but 5 wins and 2 draws from 7 games. Not a bad start.
Oh, not a bad start. But Dara, I'm going to throw it over to you, and this is a bit of a we're kind of winging it this podcast because we're not entirely sure what to do with all of our new shiny toys. But I'm going to throw it to you because you've got something very, very appetizing for us.
I've got something amazing. Have you heard of Mastermind?
I have heard of Mastermind.
Well, I thought, instead of coming up with new ideas, you take ideas that already exist and you sort of change them a bit and you pretend they're your own. So this is welcome to Apprentice Mind. Ah. Brilliant. So, okay, so what is your name?
My name is Nathan.
What's your occupation?
I am a podcaster.
And your specialist subject is?
Manchester United from around 2000 onwards, I guess.
Okay. Very good. I wish we'd just planned in advance. I wonder what's going to happen here. Are you ready, Nathan?
I am so ready.
You have, well, I'll give you 60 or 90 seconds. What do you want? I'll put the power in your hands.
This is a football podcast, so I feel like we should go for 90.
Oh, fitting. I like it. Okay. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Who was Manchester United manager up until 2013?
Sir Alex Ferguson.
Correct. Which club did Manchester United sign Nemanja Vidic from?
Belgrade.
Incorrect. In the year 2000, Manchester United didn't play a domestic match until January 29th. Why was this?
Were they in the Club World Cup?
Correct. I'll get that to you. What first name did Louis van Gaal give Chris Smalling in a press conference in 2015?
Mike.
Correct. What was Manchester United's lowest finish in this period?
8th.
Incorrect. 7th. Liverpool have won more trebles than Man United this century. True or true?
True.
Correct. Well done. I'm glad you got that one. Which team did Manchester United score 7 against in the 2006-07 Champions League quarter-final?
AC Milan.
Incorrect. Roma.
Oh, Roma. Fuck.
Who was the best player for Man United in this period?
Ooh, Paul Scholes.
Incorrect. How many Premier League titles have Manchester United won this century, including 99-2000?
13.
Incorrect. 8 this century.
Oh, sorry.
Which former Liverpool player scored 3 winning goals at Old Trafford in this century?
This whoever. I don't care.
Incorrect. And I'm out of time, but I have finished, so I will start the question. Ronnie Walwick, Luke Chadwick, Quinton Fortune, Roy Carroll, Kieran Richardson, Thomas Kuchak, and Alexander Butner have all won more Premier League titles than Steven Gerrard. This is not a question, it's just a scary thought that keeps me up at night. Nathan, thank you. You got 6 correct.
I'm annoyed about the Roma AC Milan one. I had the wrong game in my head.
We will go through the ones you didn't get correct. Nemanja Vidic came from Spartak Moscow. Man United still finished seventh, obviously. I told you I wasn't meant to.
Yeah.
Um, 8 league titles this century. The best player for United in this period, I would have accepted Anders Lindegaard, Tyler Blackett, 2011 Gary Neville, or VAR. So I'm sorry.
Can't give me Paul Scholes.
Incorrect. Oh, I'm loving this. We're having great banter, the host and contestant. We will go straight into the general knowledge round. We won't mess about.
Oh my God, there's a general knowledge round. I didn't even know.
Yeah, that's how the show. I mean, that's how this show works. Because I haven't copied this off Anthony. Okay, Nathan. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. In what year were Manchester City established?
2008.
Correct. Which player scored the most own goals in Premier League history?
Jamie Carragher.
Incorrect. Which iteration was the first FIFA to feature Rooney and Ronaldinho on the cover?
Oh God, what a great question. FIFA 2006.
Correct. Which country won the 2006 World Cup?
Italy.
Correct. What was the name of the player Graham Souness signed in 1996, believing him to be the cousin of George Weah?
Oh, Ali Dia, or how do you say his name?
Love that. Who has the most top-flight goals in English football history?
Alan Shearer.
Incorrect.
Oh.
Excluding sponsors, what is the full name of the FA Cup?
The Football Association Cup?
Incorrect.
Oh.
Denmark won Euro 92 after being a last-minute replacement for which country?
Damn it, Turkey.
Incorrect. Who is the best player in Newcastle United's history?
Lee Bowyer.
Incorrect. Real Madrid, Barcelona, and which other club have never been relegated from the Spanish top flight?
Valencia.
Incorrect. Who is the only player to play for Manchester United, Everton, Man City, and Liverpool?
Oh my God.
You're out of time, so this is important.
Manchester United, Everton.
It's quite modern, I'll say. It's not like a 1920s footballer. It's someone you'll know.
Oh, that's even made it even more annoying. I don't know. I'm gonna have to pass. I don't even have a guess for you.
We'll run through them again quickly. Most on goals in Premier League history, Richard Dunn.
Oh.
Most top flight goals in English football, Jimmy Greaves. No one ever remembers that.
No.
Full name of the FA Cup, it's the Football Association Challenge Cup.
Oh, that's interesting.
Interesting, isn't it?
That is interesting.
The best player in Newcastle United history, Santiago Munez, is the answer I have written down here. That's a very niche reference for anyone.
Can you not give me Lee Bowyer?
Nah, I would have given you Kieran Dyer, but not Lee Bowyer.
God damn it, I went for the wrong one.
And the only player... Oh, no, wait. Real Madrid, Barcelona, Athletic Bilbao, never relegated from the Spanish top flight.
Interesting.
And the only player to play for Manchester United, Everton, Man City, and Liverpool. Do you want to even have... I'll give you another hint. We're talking late 80s, early 90s.
He never played for Liverpool.
Very, very good player as well. Very good footballer.
Mark Hughes?
No. He played for Everton United, definitely. Peter Beardsley.
Oh.
That's tough one. But
that is a tough one. That was good.
Fun. That's what we're here for. At least that's what we tell the listeners. Brilliant. So I never even added them up. Apologies. You got 6. Let me see this quickly. Oh god, 7, 8, 9. 9. You got 9 across the 2 rounds.
That's poor. I feel like you're going to easily beat me.
To be fair, the general knowledge round was a bit, yeah. Even your special subject round.
Questions in there. There's some cracking questions in there.
There was some cracking questions. There was. I thought, Nathan, since international break and no one's particularly bothered, I thought, why not we get to know each other better, bonding.
Excellent idea. We should do that. We should do that it is international break, so we should do get to know each other a little better to end the podcast this week. So
I thought we'd play another one of my new segments, and I'm calling it Who Are Ya? Who Are Ya? Who Are Ya? because we're finding out more about you. Apologies for my singing voice. So, we've already gone through your name, Nathan. Where did you grow up?
Oh, I grew up in England, back down in Essex.
I've never heard of England. Tell me about it.
It's pretty much like rain.
Oh, it sounds very similar to Ireland.
Yeah, yeah, they're close by. I feel
Are
like
they?
they hold hands under the sea.
Okay, that's a nice analogy for us. And Nathan, who do you support?
Support Manchester United.
And why do you support Manchester United?
Well, everyone on my father's side of the family has supported Manchester United
Good
from
answer.
generation to generation. So it was not a choice thing
Perfect. That's
in
all we
any
like to
way,
hear.
shape, or form. Although I grew up very far away from Manchester, it was not a choice. It was genetic.
So you didn't even choose to be a United fan. Is that how they get United fans these days?
I feel like it is like some fans who support maybe the blue side of Manchester follow the money.
I don't think they exist, do
No, no, they all used to be Chelsea fans.
they? And now, what is your first football memory?
First football memory, I feel like it's I think it's definitely watching England. I'm trying to really remember and throw back, but I think it is watching England on the TV. Like one of those things where one of those very cliche things where you almost feel like, oh, I sat on my dad's lap and I was a tiny kid. But I do remember watching England from a very young age.
Can you remember what was your first football tournament for with England?
I'm gonna have to say I think it's Euros, probably 98.
World Cup '98.
World Cup 98, sorry, World Cup 98. And I feel like it would have been then, although I don't really have any memories of what happened other than
Ooh,
that. I think France won.
France did win it.
Yeah. But other than that, I remember watching United as well during the treble year. But part of those memories might be slightly implanted because I had a VHS of the treble year.
Ooh,
Um, so
take us back in
VHS,
time.
yeah, but VHS they were like DVDs, kids. DVDs are like thin discs, and VHSs they're like they house bricks with film inside them, and film is this like weird plastic stuff.
And if you pull the film out of the tape, destroys it, doesn't it, Nathan?
Yeah, it does destroy it, but
Memories.
yeah, I had a VHS of the treble years, so I remember that. I do remember that. I remember Brazilian Ronaldo destroying Old Trafford,
Yeah. Oh, 2003. Well, it
2003.
came,
Yeah,
isn't it? Yeah,
uh,
yeah,
that I was obviously a bit older then. Um, but yeah, I just remember. Really, I guess it's the class of '92.
yeah.
Be some of my earliest football memories as well.
And what moment would you say had you hooked as a football fan for life?
Uh, It's a moment that's quite late on because see, you still might go either way when you're little. You might only watch football because you get made to, but the Beckham
That
free
penalty
kick.
against Brighton
I was
after the
gonna
final whistle.
say, yeah, was it? No, the Beckham free kick against Greece.
Of course,
I
yes,
do
yes,
remember
yes.
watching that live and just going and running around my garden.
At Old Trafford as well. Almost, no one
It's
else could have scored that except for David Beckham, wasn't it?
Yeah,
One,
and I think like although it is remembered as being such an amazing moment, uh, you do watch it and you go, why didn't the goalkeeper just fucking move? It was like this,
goalkeeper Nick Apolonius, I
yeah,
remember. Yeah.
it was just like the stadium stood still and it was either going in or he was missing the goal. Like it was one of those things. But yeah, I also do remember Andy Cole scoring four against Newcastle.
I think Andy Cole is one of the most underrated strikers in Premier League history. He was second up until Wayne Rooney overtook him on the all-time goal scoring list, and he's never mentioned when you discuss great Premier League strikers. I don't think, anyways.
I think some of it's to do with his attitude a little bit. Some of the time when he was a player.
With England as well,
Mm.
barely ever played.
Yeah, and it's a weird one. And I think, yeah, he is just eclipsed a little bit, just kind of by everyone's just sheer personality at times, I think. And the fact that he wasn't an England darling kind of sours it a little bit. But United have just had some. incredible strikers. And I feel like he kind of got caught in the middle of when everyone was sad about Cantona, and then Ruud van Nistelrooy came along.
Ruud van Nistelrooy is a great striker, isn't he?
So I feel like Andy Cole's in that kind of middle bit where no one really talks about for whatever reason.
And did him going to Man City, did that like tarnish any sort of liking from?
I just don't think anyone really had the love for him anyway.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it makes any difference. I don't think it's not as visceral as when Michael Owen came to United. I
Yeah.
think there was a visceral hatred from Liverpool fans, but I feel like Andy Cole, because there was a few who went from United to City, because obviously Peter Schmeichel played there,
Yeah.
and no one really cared because they were like, well, he's done, so we don't
Yeah.
care. We've
Yeah.
used him, you can have him. It's like, but Tevez as another
Ooh.
one from United, because it was a weird loan deal when we had him, and then it kind of just he just lost his head. He just followed the money.
Yeah, and obviously at the time when Andy Cole went to, or even Peter Schmeichel went to City, nowhere near rivals were. Well, they were local rivals, but they weren't like competitive rivals. So it wasn't the same.
Yeah, it was quote unquote the noisy neighbours, wasn't it? Still back then,
Yeah.
where we were the established. And but I think if say an Andy Cole was playing for United now, well, let's use an example for now is Anthony Martial. If Anthony Martial went to City, there would be effigies of him in the street. Like, but
And that's just
times have
you.
changed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's just me. All of them were me. But
Yeah.
like it's a very different landscape now.
Yeah. Speaking about those VHS tapes, I imagine it's going to be one of two or three players. But who was your favorite player as a kid?
As a kid, and again, I know it's a very boring answer, but it was David Beckham.
I thought it was going to be Luke Chadwick. No,
I
no.
love Beckham. I love Paul Scholes. Obviously, I love Roy Keane, and just everyone. Gary Neville as well. But I think it's David Beckham, and then probably is Ruud van Nistelrooy after that.
Yeah.
I did have
And
a Van Nistelrooy poster.
ooh,
My wall.
just like a massive one, or was it like one of those like small A4 sized ones?
It was bigger than A4, but it wasn't massive. It just came in a magazine. I don't remember what
Match.
magazine now. It
Has to
probably
be
was
Match.
Match. Yeah, it
Yes,
probably
yes, yes.
was.
Do you remember your first match? Well, I hope you do, because it's one of my questions.
I went to.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, first match that you attended.
First match I attended was that Andy Cole scoring four against Newcastle in 1999.
Ooh, long way back there,
A long
before
way
my
back.
lifetime.
Long way back. I would have been 6 at the time, so I don't have many memories of it in terms of actually being there. But I
Yeah.
know I was there because I have pictures with my dad and his friends to watch. And because I don't remember it, I have got it up in front of me on 11v11.com. So thank you, guys over there for keeping records like this.
Huge fans of the podcast.
Yeah, but Andy Cole scored four. Ryan Giggs scored as well. Henning Berg scored
Ooh.
an own goal.
Do you know he was the first player to win the Premier League with two different teams?
Ah,
There you go.
you are full of facts today.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think I'm going to go through the lineups because I got them in front of me. There are some names, some blasts from the past. Raymond van der Gaal was in goal for Manchester United.
I don't think I've ever heard of him.
Uh, Gary Neville, Henning Berg, Jaap Stan, and Phil
Ooh,
Neville
a
were the back four.
big fan
Apparently,
of Yap Stam. Just
I'm still a big fan of him now
him and like
as a
Martin
player.
Skirtle are probably the two like most famous bald heads in football. That's of
Uh,
course a joke, Zidane.
David Beckham, Nicky Butt, Ryan Giggs, and Paul Scholes made up the midfield. What a midfield that is!
Well, according to Pele, Nicky Butt was the best player in the world in 2002. So, he's a few years off, but amazing.
And up front, of course, it is at that time for Manchester United. It's Cole and York.
Colin York, yeah, yeah, yeah.
But let's run through this side, this Newcastle side, and what damage it would do in the Premier League right now. Tommy
Ooh.
Wright is in goal. Warren Barton, Aaron Hughes, Nico Dabizas, and Alain Goma on the
Jeez.
midfield.
No.
Norberto Solano
Oh, Nobby.
and Gary Speed were in
Ooh,
midfield. I'm gonna
and
guess as kind of defensive midfielders. Gary Speed, great player, great player.
great man.
Kieran Dyer in 1999 and Rob Lee. I'm presuming we're on the wings. And up front, you got Alan Shearer, of course, but then you got Big Dunk.
Big dunk, of course.
Big Dunk.
I love that. It's like the two most like aggressive, just horrible strikers to play against at the time, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And Teddy Sheringham and Quinton Fortune came on for United.
When did Fortune play that long ago?
Apparently so. He came off for Paul Scholes in the 70th minute, apparently.
I thought he. Oh yeah. Anyways, yeah.
No cards for United, but Warren Barton, Noberto Solano got yellows, and Nikos Dabizas got sent off.
The only thing I know about Davies Ass is he's the player that Bergkamp, the Bergkamp goal against Newcastle.
Yeah,
That's the player he turns. And I think that's probably his proudest moment in life as well.
probably, probably. But you got some cracking players. Big Dunk in that Newcastle side. Kieran Dyer, Gary Speed as well. I think what they'd give to have any of these. Alan Shearer, of course. How much do you think, say, a 26-year-old Alan Shearer? How much do you think say Newcastle were going to sell? How much do you reckon someone would have to pay for a 26-year-old
No,
Alan Shearer
nowadays as well.
in this market?
It's he was basically just like a better Harry Kane. That's the way I always remember Alan Shearer. You're talking like, well, he was obviously a world record signing at the time, so it'd have to be like you're talking 150 million plus at the minimum.
I do think you hit the nail on the head. I think whatever Harry Kane would sell for, Alan Shearer would probably be about 5 or 10 million more just added on top. And I reckon
Exactly.
Harry Kane, given it's Daniel Levy, I'm going to take the Levy thing out of it because I think the Levy effect adds another 40 million. I reckon Harry Kane would cost about 160 million quid.
And yeah, you're talking minimum as well, aren't you?
Oh, absolutely. And
Yeah,
that's eye-watering money, but given some of the stupid, given a 29-year-old Eden Hazard was 100 million quid,
yeah, exactly.
and he scores what, like five a season? All five are great.
Exactly. He runs past all 11 players to score the five, but he's a scorer of great goals, not a great goal scorer.
Yeah, that's very, very true.
Yeah.
But yeah, enough about
Uh,
1999 United v Newcastle match.
that's actually my mastermind topic for next week. um, do you have any memories actually of the first of that game actually being there?
Yeah, I just remember everything just being so surreal through a child's eyes,
Mhm.
looking down at obviously Old Trafford and everything, and hearing the noise of the fans and everything. And it was probably, well, it was, because I still go to Old Trafford. I haven't been for a while, but it's very different to how it is now. Like it's very much back then. Obviously, it was very much more the fans,
Yeah,
whereas everything's a little bit more corporate these days, and that's across the board. I'm not just calling out like saying that's just a United thing. That's just a reality of football.
yeah.
And so what did I do? I mean, just remember the journey there as well, because we're talking a few hundred miles. Like, and we didn't go on the day. We went the day before we went up, and I remember getting ice cream.
Oh,
But
what?
that's
So,
because I've got a picture of me with ice cream.
okay. I was thinking, how good was this ice cream?
It's pretty
Jeez.
good. It's pretty good. We were very high up, so nowhere near the pitch, like
Ah,
to really see anyone super up close.
do you remember any of the goals? No.
No, I couldn't pull
No.
that off the
Yeah.
top of my head. I'm not even convinced I was able to see the pitch because I'm
Yeah.
not very tall. I'm not very tall now.
But you were a giant when you were a kid, from what I
Yeah.
understand.
No, I've got no memory of any of the goals. I can remember in my head, I can hear the sound as they went in of the fans reacting,
Yeah.
but I can't remember.
One
I
thing
can't.
I always find when you go to a game, one of the most surreal moments is when the opposition team score, because it's just like deafening silence, except for this like one small sector of the stadium that's just going mental.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
It's like as much as obviously I don't like my team conceding, it's such a like like cool moment to be a part of, I guess.
Yeah, it's just strange. It's just a strange reaction whenever the opposition score of just nothing. But I'll tell you when it's great being in the away end when the opposition when the opposition score is just worse in a way
Then
because
yeah,
instead when you're at home it's a pin drop. When you are in the away section and the home team score, it's like there's a party going on
that's a
but
very good
you're
point.
not allowed in. Like you can, it's like when you stand outside a nightclub in the queue to get in. So you can hear the music, you can see everyone's having fun, but you're just like, fuck, it's raining.
Just with a glass up against the door, trying to get in on the fun. What's the best match you've been to? So,
Oh, the best match I have been to was Manchester United 3, Liverpool 2,
oh,
Sunday, 19th of
brilliant.
September 2010, when
Oh,
Dimitar Berbatov scored his hat trick. Steve Gerrard scoring two, even getting a pen. But ah,
I wish I hadn't asked that one. No, it was even as a Liverpool fan, I can still remember watching that game very clearly. Grandparents' house in the sitting room, just yeah. Obviously, United go 2-0 up, don't they?
they did.
Dimitar Berbatov scores the bicycle kick. I'm sure you probably have much better perspective of this than I do. I'll let you take over.
Dimitar Berbatov scores the bicycle kick, and at that point, we think this is wrapped up because Liverpool weren't even having a great game. They were having one of those games where they couldn't hit a barn door.
Never mind on the field, off the field, it wasn't going so well either. But I'm sure we'll get into that another time. But
Uh, and it
Berbatov's bicycle kick, what I always remember is the way how the ball comes into the box, obviously crossed in, and he has time to chest it and bicycle kick it, and it just looks beautiful, doesn't it?
It does, and it's just everything Berbatov does. Sometimes he's ridiculously graceful player. He is
Yeah,
so gifted. He makes everything look silky smooth. He probably still could do it now.
yeah,
And but other than that, I remember it being quite a cagey game. Like other than Berbatov's magic, there wasn't a whole lot going on in terms of clear-cut chances across the board. This wasn't Fergie's best United side ever.
yeah. I'll tell you, you did go on to win the league that year, but those final two league wins were a bit like not, I wouldn't say lucky, but you felt like it wasn't going to last.
He
That's
kind
how
of
I
run
felt.
out. I think this is the point where the academy, although we were still producing great players, it was running a little bit dry at this point. Like when I just take you through the players, like them, for example, let me tell you who was on the bench for United at this point: Kushak, Wes Brown, Mike Smalling, Golden Boot winner Anderson. No, sorry, not Golden Boot.
Golden boy.
Golden Boy. That's it. Golden Boy winner Anderson,
God.
Gibson, Ben Gibson.
Ben?
It wasn't Ben Gibson. It
Oh,
was Darren Gibson
Darren. Yeah,
and
yeah. Threw me there.
Mikel Owen and our latest academy graduate, who what a career he went on to have, Federico Makeda.
Oh, he's done so many things. He has so many memories. I can't pick one. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and the game it was magic to be there, and it was phenomenal to watch. I'm looking back on it now and kind of looking at the side and going, "Oh, this is why we were in such a mess when you left."
Yeah.
But but there was still some like Patrice Evra was at the height of his powers at this point. Ryan Giggs was still
Still
playing
kicking about. Yeah.
like a man 10 years younger than him. Nani gets a little bit unfairly criticized on what he did for United, but I think that's because he wasn't Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Paul Scholes was he's Paul Scholes. Berbatov and Rooney up front as well. Like we had some fantastic options, although we hadn't replaced Ronaldo or well we had no this okay, Nani didn't replace Ronaldo.
Yeah.
We kind of lost Tevez and everyone like that.
The fact Alex Ferguson replaced Ronaldo with it's isn't it Gabby Obertan and Michael Owen in the picture this that summer. And
Yeah, Obertan wasn't Obertan our academy.
I'm thinking of a picture and there's three of them in the picture. There's
In the
well
picture, but I'm pretty sure
did he?
I think Obertan came from our academy. I'm going to double check that on the podcast. Gabriel Obertan.
Perfect.
No, I'm telling lies. He came from Bordeaux.
It's just that picture that always stands out to me. I need to.
Yeah, I
Probably should
know
have
the
had this
one you
prepared.
mean, and
I don't,
he. But let's go through the Liverpool side though, because there is one person I want to ask you, Mr. Statman, the
oh,
person who pulls everything from everywhere. John Arne Risa. What
Teresa.
am I? Sorry, Rayner is in goal.
Uh,
Glenn Johnson, what a legend.
yeah.
Kontreski, Carragher, Skirtle.
Oh.
So Raul Morales, good player,
Ooh,
good
I
player,
loved Ryan Morales. Yeah.
good cracking player. Steven Gerrard, Joe Cole,
God. Joe Cole
Max,
started that game. God.
yeah, Maxi, Fern- Fernando Torres, and who the hell is Poulsen?
You don't remember Christian Poulsen, no?
I even don't remember him.
He was. He came in at the time, and he came from. Oh, see, I wish I should know this. I'm pretty sure it's Juventus he came from at the time as well. And he came in and he was supposed to be this like revolutionary defensive midfielder that we like always needed. And he was just one of the most he's definitely up there in the like top five worst players ever. Obviously, he was only there for one season, and then he was just sent like as far away from the club as possible. And thank the Lord. But
Good
he
God, I'm
was
just
a
looking at his career. It's
Roy
so weird.
Hodgson. He was a Roy Hodgson signing. So what can you expect?
He played 12 league games for Liverpool in the one season he was there, and he then went on to sign. He clearly impressed because he then signed for Evian.
My favorite beverage. You know, not my favorite football team. You know,
So weird. What
he
a he was clearly absolute dog.
yeah.
Although Ajax
Uh,
didn't pick him up, but he only lasted 2 seasons before going to Copenhagen and then retiring after one season.
Yeah, you know what I mean? He came in, and from what I remember, as soon as Kenny Dalglish came in as caretaker at the time to replace Hodgson, him and Konchesky, and I think Jovanovic as well, the like three like major signings he'd made were just like never seen again. Joe Cole was the fourth who came in on a free transfer, and he was loaned out to Lille. Yeah, Lille the season after.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Joe Cole, if that the magic that man had on occasions, but he just could never get a run of games going.
exactly. And when he did at Liverpool get a run of games going, it wasn't pretty. Premier League debut, he got sent off against Arsenal, and then I think in his European debut, he like missed a penalty. So he wasn't a great signing, even though he was a free transfer. But at Chelsea, I thought he was a really good footballer. At the time, it seemed like a steal on a free transfer.
It really did. And but looking at some of the talent you brought onto the pitch to try and turn, you were clearly struggling in the game when you brought Agger on in the 81st minute.
Was that after we'd made it 2-2, or was that
That was just before Berbatov. So that was the 81st minute, and Berbatov scored his third in the 84th. So
lovely?
you were shutting up shop, but Kontreski was coming off. So Jovanovic came on in the 79th
Oh,
for
King,
Raul Morales.
King.
And then Ngog.
Oh, David. Oh, it wasn't a great time to be a Liverpool fan, really. And this is what I was growing up with. So the fact that I stuck I stuck with it, I think is testament. Is there any other games off the top of your head um that were good?
That were good.
Run through them quickly.
Oh,
Well, not
well,
quickly. You know what I mean?
well, the last game I went to was a great one, but I just thought I'd bring this up just so you can have a bit of banter with me, because I went away to Newcastle last season to watch Newcastle v Man United.
Oh, the what's
Matty
his
Longstaff
Matty Longstaff. That's the one. That's the one.
scored the
I was
winner in a
thinking it's
one
not Sean. It's not Sean.
in a 1-0
Newcastle
win.
away is the dreaded away because stairs. Nathan, elaborate.
So many. There are so many fucking
Is
stairs.
there no elevator? No.
Not that I know of. but not that I know of it. The only time I've been there. So if there is, please feel free to tweet at Project Dits where they are. But when you are walking up stairs so that you can watch Andreas Pereira play 90 minutes, when you can watch Ashley Young at left back, and
Ooh,
I doubt there's any Inter Milan fans listening, but I know he's playing fairly well for you. I realize that, but oh, and then I'm hesitant to have because watching them on the day, watching Fred and McSauce in defensive midfield on that day was like it was capital punishment, which is rude because a year later they're doing pretty well. Like,
it's
but
yeah, it's a weird one, isn't it? That was the time
oh
where I felt he's gone. There's no way he can come back from this. And then we came back from the international break, and he drew with Liverpool,
yeah,
and those are the only points we dropped until the 29th of February in that
and
season.
she got uh was that the Watford game?
Yeah, I probably
That
should
was
have
the
mentioned that
Watford game.
actually. Yeah. I
But
love how
when
this. I asked you as well, best matches, and this is what you came up with.
well, I had tab open because I need to remind myself because I don't have as good a memory as you, in case people can't realize.
Yeah.
But I just thought I'd bring it up just for a bit of fun. I was also at the Liverpool game when Mata scored his. It wasn't a bicycle kick, but his weird
Oh,
volley. That was a good one because it was a really weird time to be a United fan.
the Louis van Gaal era.
Yeah, it was a strange time. But the main event of, I guess, what we want to talk about, I was at Fergie's last game.
Oh, wait, don't tell me. Swan. Oh no, no, Swansea was
No,
the Old Trafford game. It was West Brom away.
West Brom away,
Yes.
5-5, the Lukaku hat trick against what should have been the end of some of those United players as well. Rio Ferdinand, I'm pretty sure,
Oh,
wakes up screaming still. But what an atmosphere! It was like a testimonial. It wasn't like an actual match. Like you wouldn't have thought it was a competitive match.
who 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 scored for United on the day actually? Because all I know is that the last goal of the Alex Ferguson era was Hernandez. Who scored the others?
Ooh.
Ooh, he's stumbling. I should have let him know
I
before.
think Kagawa got one.
Kagawa. He was a funny
Uh,
one, wasn't he? He was such a
Van
good
Persie
player.
definitely scored. And I am struggling on another one because I think it's someone really random. But I
For
know
some reason, I'm
Kagawa
thinking
scored.
it's Butner.
There
I've
was
got
an own
Butner in my head.
goal. There was an own goal as well. Um,
I've gone on to it. It is. It's Butner. I called
I
it.
was Alexander Butler.
I promise. But weren't you? You were up by like 5-3 or something like that. Because I can remember so
We
watching on
went
Sky Sports
three
News.
up. We went three up, and everyone's cruising, everyone's partying. There's a lot of drinks going around. I don't actually know how much of the match I watched, like even though I was there, and everyone will know what I mean by that. Because it was kind of just playing. I
Yeah,
remember like there was just some really weird. It was such a strange atmosphere. As I said, you wouldn't have known it was a competitive match, but
yeah,
Lukaku saw this as an audition for what he would go on to be, and he is a phenomenal striker. Although you kind of have to change the way you play if you want to play with him,
yeah,
which Inter Milan are doing well, and we obviously weren't willing to sacrifice. Um, but what just weird. Just there was
yeah.
nothing
Because
on the line
yeah,
really.
you had the title wrapped up since about I think November of that year.
Yeah,
When
pretty
you bet
much.
when you bet City at the Etihad, wasn't it? That was kind of the game where it just felt finished already.
Yeah, it did, and like it was. I remember seeing like David De Gea was dropped for this match
Oh,
as well.
Lindegaard in goal, was it?
Yeah, I remember reading like
Yes.
the program and stuff beforehand, and then obviously like the teams are coming out, and it's like what? And would you believe everyone, all United fans gather round, and let me tell you that this was the era where Phil Jones was good.
I didn't know that such an era existed.
Phil Jones was a decent young player at this point. So Alex Ferguson said he had the ability to go on to become one of United's greatest ever players.
And how correct he was.
Oh, correct. He was still there. No one else is still there apart from David De Gea.
Wow.
But like, do you want me to read you out the starting lineup for United's last Fergie's last
I
game?
do, I do. I know that Butner played. That's for some reason
Butner
I can
did
just always
play.
remember that. I don't know
L-
why.
Lindegaard, Butner, Johnny Evans, Phil Jones, Antonio Valencia, legend,
Ooh.
Golden Boy winner Anderson, uh, Mikael Carrick, I guess he's still at United, uh,
Yeah.
Shinji Kagawa,
Loved, well,
and
not at
the
United.
enigma,
Used
the
to love Shinji Kagawa.
pure enigma of Shinji Kagawa. I was there when he scored a hat trick.
Ooh, who did he score a hat trick against?
Couldn't tell you.
It was a memorable game, so.
It was a memorable game. It was in the Premier League at some point, I believe.
Brilliant.
I'm rubbish at these interviews because it was against Norwich.
Norwich. God.
Uh,
2012 Norwich. That would have been prime Luis Suarez, Norwich.
yeah. Hernandez, Tom Cleverley, and
God. Did
Van Persie started up front.
you say Tom Cleverley and Robin van Persie up front?
No, I think we played a 4-2-3-1. I think Hernandez was playing really deep, like he was playing as like a cam.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
was it?
Fergie would do that every now and then. Like he would play more, I guess it's more of a centre forward thing, but he would drop pretty deep at
Yeah.
times. And but sometimes because Robin van Persie would do the same, he would drop deep. And we kind
Yeah.
of had this weird rotating thing going on for quite a few games where if Van Persie would drop deep, Hernandez would be on the shoulder, and then um if Chikorita was dropping deep, for Robin van Persie would just be there to kind of like hold the ball up. It was like a really weird system, but it
Right, yeah.
worked.
And at the same time, Rooney was starting to like transition to a more deeper lying role as well, wasn't he?
I don't. I think this was just a era where everyone was questioning him. You notice,
Ooh.
that's the first time we've said his name. He wasn't even. He was injured, I think, or dead.
Yeah. Or both. Who knows?
Or but Shane Long started up front
West
for.
Brom, Shane Long, yeah, of course.
Yeah, what a player
Did they have like Claudio Jacob and
they
Malumbu?
did.
Were
Jakob
they playing?
Malumbu, Chris
Love them
Brunt,
too.
who's only just left West Brom.
Oh yeah, he was there forever, wasn't he? Yeah.
What a player! Probably one of their best. Yeah, certainly modern signings. We'd have to get a West Brom expert to talk about kind of before the era we know, but Chris Brunt's got to be one of their
Yeah.
greatest modern players.
Steve Clark as manager, I remember. He
Oof,
left.
oof.
He was Liverpool's assistant the season before.
And
And
now
in
he's
his
taken Scotland to the Euros.
there you go. You took the words out of my mouth.
It all comes full circle.
We will, I'll hit you with another question. Who is your favorite Man United team?
Your gut instinct is straight away to say the treble winners, but I'm not going to say the treble winners.
You're picking
I'm
this season's team. That's
I'm
a weird.
picking this season's team: Tony, Rashi, Greenwood, Cavani off the bench.
Oh, what a time to be alive.
What a time! Imagine if you fell like you got put on ice in 2013, and then you woke up to see Cavani coming on the bench to replace Anthony Martial.
If you had like told United fans, if you did what you said there, freeze them in 2013, and you took them out this year, and you said, at the club we've had, Paul Pogba, who was a world record transfer, Angel Di Maria, Alexis Sanchez, Falcao, all these names, and you think, geez, what did we win? We must have won a lot. We came sixth and won the Europa League one year. it was
Yeah,
it
we
was
came
pretty good.
second one season.
That's good. That's the biggest achievement ever in football.
It'd be so funny to say that. Oh yeah, we signed Paul Pogba for 90 million, the best midfielder on the planet. You went, what? Our academy player? We saw what? Like, yeah, we sold him and then we bought him back for
Sold
90
him on
million
a
quid.
free transfer. Brilliant business there from the club, yeah.
No, but I think it's that combination of having Paul Scholes, Michael Carrick in midfield, popping the ball off to Ronaldo, Tevez, and Rooney.
The 0708 Champions League, Premier League winning team.
Oh,
Go.
what a side you talk about there. Wes Brown at right back.
Oh, yes.
Whoa.
Now we're talking.
Peak Vidic and Ferdinand, the greatest centre half pairing in Premier League history. There's no debate about it. Unless Virgil van Dijk gets a partner who's not terrible, you're never seeing a better double act. And you can take your John Terrys and your whoever he goes along with.
And
You
Edwin
could,
van der Sar in goal, who I swear was about 40 for about 20 years. He
signed
always seemed to be that
Fulham.
old. So yeah, yeah. That's another. It's just such a weird thing. What was he doing at Fulham?
Well, I think he pretty much thought he was done, but Tim Howard didn't work out. Ben Foster never kind of took as good a career as he's had, and he has had a
Yeah,
fantastic career. Ben Foster, he never kind of turned into the goalkeeper we were expecting.
Roy
Uh,
Carroll.
yep, and no,
Yep.
he was a good goalie. He played until he's well into his 40s as well. He was playing lower league football for ages.
Why do I think he played for Olympiacos? Or have I made that up?
I think you are correct, sir.
Exactly. We'll move
Yeah.
on. I think
And
Roy Carroll's getting enough airtime in this show.
we were just struggling to find that really the heir to Schmeichel. And
Yeah.
Van der Sar came late in his career to definitely stake a claim to being Man United's best goalkeeper of the Premier League era. And kind of up there, you got to say Peter Schmeichel, Van der Sar, and peak David De Gea.
Where
Like
would
I
you?
know,
How would you rank them three? Actually.
I think you got to put Schmeichel up top,
Yeah.
and I would put De Gea ahead of Van der Sar. I would rather have peaked David De Gea, I think. Although
Today.
Van der Sar, like for what he did in the heroics in Moscow,
Yeah.
it's harsh to say, but I think he did come quite late in his career, and
Yeah.
he was helped immensely, as any goalkeeper would have been, by having Vidic and Ferdinand at the peak, and Evra and Neville at times as well, although he dropped off a cliff after 2009. It's like, but I mean, can
Yeah.
you imagine? Do you think if we could have had Patrice Evra, let's say we got Van der Sar, peak Van der Sar, Patrice Evra, Rio Ferdinand, Nemanja Vidic, and Aaron Wan-Bissaka as a back four, do you think we would have conceded any goals?
Well, with that defense you were talking about in the 0708, the 0809 season, pardon, you went, I think it's like 14 games without conceding a goal, which is a Premier League record. So imagine if he had
We didn't
that
even have a
defense.
right back. We had the remnants of Gary Neville and Wes Brown, and occasionally John O'Shea.
John O'Shea at right back, yeah.
People forget because John O'Shea, he kind of got when he was at Sunderland with Wes Brown, which everyone needs to be
So
reminded
weird.
that Sunderland in about 2014 signed Wes Brown and John O'Shea. Like those two kind of get laughed at a little bit for the way they ended their careers, but they were two fantastic players for United.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they weren't like, they weren't like the Ronaldos or the Rooneys of the team, but you need solid
And
squad players
in the
who come in and
final
do a job.
in the treble season, the final of the Champions League, I think it was Wes Brown was on the bench.
Yeah, it
That's
didn't.
how
Yeah,
long because
he's won.
they're both academy players, but
Yeah, West Brown has 2 Champions League wins, I'm pretty sure.
fantastic player.
Yeah. Or not two, he's more than two. He was part of the treble team, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's probably my favourite United side.
Yeah. Well, now, which is your favourite United jersey? We'll go one based on. Well, you can't already answered that one, I guess. What's your favourite Man United jersey?
That's a really tough question.
It could be based on looks, or it could just be based on how the team were doing at the time.
I think it's gonna have to be the Vodafone one. Any kit with the Vodafone logo on. I'm thinking kind of 2000 to 2002 kind of era.
Yeah, it was just a solid looking kit, wasn't it? It was
It just looked right with the way that they cut the Vodafone logo. So it wasn't really the entire logo printed on. You had the red bit, you had the outline of it and everything.
Yeah.
And then kind of with the black up the inside of the arms. And that's when we had that weird blue third kit, or it might have been our away kit. We had a weird like blue and red one at some point. That was weird. But yeah, I'm gonna have to go for a Vodafone era. I do
Yeah,
like the way the Chevrolet logo looks on our kit as well. But
yeah,
there's been some great kits.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
gonna go Vodafone just before Beckham left.
yeah, yeah. I think that's a good choice. I think that's a good choice. Now, just personal opinion. Who would you class as your club's biggest rival?
Guy, you're gonna make me talk about him. It's gonna have to be Liverpool.
Has to be. It
How
has to
could it
be.
not be?
Exactly. Exactly.
Fergie, he came in and knocked Liverpool off that fucking perch.
It
And
took him 27 years, and then we changed that again after 7. So who's laughing now?
Peter Peter Schmeichel had time to win it, have a kid who also won it before you won it. But it's got to be. It has to be Liverpool from the way Fergie came in and Liverpool, what they were in the '80s and everything, and then like managing to climb that ladder and beat Liverpool's records.
It's
And it's always
astonishing.
the biggest game of the season. Like I know for some modern fans who perhaps are a bit younger, the City game because of what Man City are now. But we didn't. That wasn't always the case. Man City weren't always. They weren't even in the top division
Yeah,
for a lot. For like, I'm pretty sure in the early 2000s they weren't, or they got relegated at one point.
they definitely got relegated late
Yeah,
90s. Ooh, 2000.
yeah,
I think since 2000. I think in the 21st century they've been ever
yeah.
present. But yeah, yeah, I know
It
what you mean.
has to be. It has to be Liverpool, and I think the way you know how much it means to some of the players is, and I hate to bring it up, but I am making a proper point. It's the way Gerrard went out in this final game at United. No other side could have wound him up that much so quickly.
Yeah, I think it was definitely a combination of he felt he was being not managed poorly, but he wasn't being managed correctly by Brendan Rodgers in that season. He just wanted to come in. He knew he was leaving. He just wanted to play the big games. And obviously he
Yeah,
doesn't start that game, does he? And
and he
because it's
didn't start
United,
him. He didn't start in the Bernabeu either.
exactly. Oh, we'll get onto that team list,
We'll get into
I'm
that
sure at some
next. We'll
point.
get into that either next week or the week after. But I think there are certainly spells where you could argue someone else. I think when Arsenal, the invincible seasons, and a couple of seasons before and after that. But it's still it's always Liverpool.
It always is.
It's always going to be Liverpool.
No matter how
Jose
good
Mourinho's
or bad,
Chelsea, but that was more a Fergie Mourinho thing than a United Chelsea thing.
definitely.
But it's always Liverpool are always going to be the ones, and I think I'm looking forward to the Liverpool United game. It's going to be in a weird time of the year because of the way the season's panned out, but you always look forward to those games.
Well, look forward is a stretch. I definitely look I look to see when that game is coming up, and then I think
Check the
for
injury
the
list.
for the week going into it, I think we can't lose. We can't lose. Luckily, and I don't think we've lost one in like 2 years, which is definitely a record because even like under Van Gaal, it just seemed you were always beating us, and I don't know
It
why.
did seem that way. For a while, it seemed like everything kind of was obviously going wrong at United, but then Liverpool came around. You're like, well, we're going to win this. And then
Exactly.
even last season, we nearly did. It was an awful start to the season, but like we go one up, and you don't have Adam Lallana this season to put it back for you at the last second because Marcus Rojo wasn't looking.
But yeah, following up on that, I'm hoping it's going to be a Liverpool player. Which opposition player did you hate coming up against the most?
Torres.
Yep, perfect. That's
Oh,
exactly what I was hoping for.
Fernando. First off, I love Torres.
Yeah,
Always loved Torres. I loved the way he played. Even when I know he had some incredible rough patches, but I think his final stint at Atletico Madrid showed what a valuable and adaptable player he could be. And but he just the things he would do to poor Vidic. And Vidic at the peak of his powers could make Messi cry, but you throw Torres on there and he forgets how to play for whatever reason. He just had his number, and some players do. They just always have your number. And for Vidic, it was Torres, and you knew it was coming.
yeah. That run of games where there's 3 games in a row. from 2008 to 2009, where he plays Liverpool 3 times. He gets sent off 3 times. So
Oh, just it was just
definitely something.
awful, and you just knew it was coming at some point, and that didn't stop either. Like it's funny to watch now, but the miss from Torres against United when he was at Chelsea, but he just skinned everyone, and then you're just there, and you're like, not again. He's shit against everyone.
Yeah.
And then it proves that he is shit against everyone. But there was that moment where every United fan who watched those games just got a bit of PTSD.
Definitely. Who would you say is the most famous footballer you've met?
I haven't actually met too many footballers properly, but it's going to be Michael Carrick.
Michael Carrick. Ooh, how did that
Yeah,
go?
it was very, very, very brief. Like it was after a game, and we were just hanging around, me and my friends, and then we just saw everyone kind of leaving. And very briefly, I've got a picture with Michael Carrick.
Brilliant.
But that's probably the most famous. There were more famous players around, but, but it's going to have to be Michael Carrick. But one random one for you, and is do you remember Christian Daly?
I actually don't. That's a name I'm not familiar
Christian
with.
Daly used to play for West Ham, and there's a very funny video of the West Ham manager, who I can't remember who it was. It might have been Big Sam, but I can't remember who. He's kind of doing his interview, and then Christian's off there shouting about what a shit performance the ref had in the background. But when I was down living in Essex still, he had retired and he moved to Essex, and he used to come and go to the gym where I used to work. But you'll find if you Google Christian Daly, that's one for everyone to Google. Former footballer Christian
Never,
Daly.
never in my life. I know absolutely nothing about this man.
Oh,
On his
well, he had a good.
Wikipedia, it says playing positions, centre back / utility player. I don't know what that means.
I think it just means he got thrown around a bit.
I have
But
never seen that before.
6 years at West Ham though.
So he was playing in the era when they got to the FA Cup final against Liverpool, obviously, and I still have no idea who he is.
I doubt he made the side.
Well, that's a good
I
point.
don't think he was very good.
He played
Like,
30 games. He played 30 games
yeah,
that season, so he must have.
the 01-02 Premiership season, he played all 38 Premiership at the time matches.
Nah, I've no idea. I have nothing to add. I have no
For
idea who this
Rangers,
man is.
Charlton, but yeah, he used to come down and use the gym because he lived down there.
Did he
Uh,
just shout about you like he did about the refs?
no, he's such a very, very lovely man.
Ah, that's nice. That's a
Yeah,
nice,
he's
nice
lovely.
way to.
Got nothing funny. Like he would just come in and just use the gym like everyone else. Like obviously, not many people recognized him. You'd get the odd few, like because there's a lot of West Ham fans down that way,
Yeah,
who would recognize him. But he's just a lovely bloke.
perfect. And to wrap up, I have two final questions. We'll start on the downer one first. What's
Okay.
been your worst moment as a football fan?
As a United fan, I think it's. I don't want to say it's just. I actually think it might have been the 6-2 match against City, or 6-1.
Six
Sorry.
one, 6-1. Yep.
Yeah, and I know that's just happened recently with Spurs as well, but that wasn't unexpected. but I think that was a real downer because I think everyone kind of was seeing the writing on the wall in terms of Fergie's time was coming to an end and City were kind of rising up, and that was a bit of a downer
Yep.
as well. There was obviously the Champions League finals against Barcelona as well.
Yeah.
And it sounds because there's going to be a lot of people who support clubs and have genuine, really sad moments. For me, it's just we got thrashed once, so that's kind of bad.
It's for
Uh,
you. It's losing to probably the best football team in history in a one-off game of football.
yeah, so I know there's been some rough moments after Fergie had gone, and there were some such boring performances under David Moyes and under Louis van Gaal
Do you
as
remember
well.
just a random game I just remembered after you said David Moyes? Do you remember United Fulham at Old Trafford?
Oh God, the
He crossed the ball.
crosses.
Yeah, I think he like absolutely smashed the record for most crosses in a Premier League game,
Yeah, there
which
was one point where I think Michael Carrick scored to pull it back, and then everyone was like, "Well, here we go," and then it just kept on happening. But
yeah,
there's actually like even after Fergie left, there's still some bright spots, and there's still some fantastic stuff going on. The rise of Marcus Rashford, for one, has
yeah.
been phenomenal. But sad moment, I think that was just a sad moment to be
So which
a
one are you
United
picking?
fan.
Well,
I'm gonna
the
go.
City.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for the City defeat.
Yes, okay. I was hoping it'd be Liverpool 4-1, but obviously not.
I don't know any
um,
memory.
that's a very good point. And now, what has been your best moment as a football fan?
Oh, I'm gonna go for the Champions League win
Yeah, against
in
Chelsea.
Moscow. The penalty shootout, watching John Terry slip on his ass when we all thought it was over.
Oh,
Um, just a good. It wasn't like by no means. If you've never watched a match, don't go and watch it. It's not great. It's as cagey as cagey matches get in a really random venue for a Champions League final where it was probably fucking freezing. Um, but seeing us kind of coming to the end of one of my favorite kind of United side, really. It was kind of
yeah,
the cat, even though there was another season to come, that was kind of the end point
yeah.
for that side, even though there was another Champions League kind of final to come. And there was just some there was just some phenomenal players in that era, but and I think that really capped it off.
Yeah,
I think Fergie's record in Europe always comes into question, but there's two great moments.
yeah. Obviously, John Terry losing it. All I'm saying is, I can't imagine the captain of my club slipping to lose a trophy. I can't imagine that at all.
I can't imagine the captain of my. Yeah, I can. Yeah,
You can't, but I can't.
it's so
Um,
realistic.
Actually, I'll finish it off with if you didn't support Man United for whatever reason, who would you support, do you reckon?
Well, if I became a football fan under no influence, like from nobody
Um,
else kind of pushing me in any one direction,
yeah, I suppose you could take that two ways. It could be either growing up, what would have happened, or if you were to just be dropped in as a football fan, who would you pick?
uh,
We'll say,
if I got dropped in as a football fan now,
yeah. Well, it'd probably Liverpool, would it?
I think under no influence from anyone else, kind of like so say my dad's side made me a United fan. I
Yeah,
think growing up I would have ended up being probably West Ham or Ipswich
for
because
the
they were the local ones. Like they were the near like West Ham were kind of the club that a lot of people in Essex supported, including Spurs as well, because
yeah,
it's that's the kind of side of London we're on. And in Essex as a county in England, for those that don't know, there's no real there's no like Premier League or top level side. Like there's Colchester who I think are in League Two. There's Ipswich who are in League One, who are kind of like Southend as well, who are in League Two or One as well. So probably one of the local sides because you just would have been able to go super easy as well.
yeah,
And when you do like foot, I don't know what it like when you do football camps growing up, you always have like the local side doing stuff. You always got like free tickets and stuff.
Oh, did you ever have like did you ever go to one of them and have like a Premier League footballer go to it?
No, I wish we
Go one of
did.
them. I've
No.
got if you remember this player, I'll be very surprised. But obviously where I'm from, do you remember Sean Davis, Premier League footballer?
No.
He played for God, he played for like I think Tottenham, but like Portsmouth is where I remember him. I just remember him in that Portsmouth team around the time they got to the FA Cup final. But he set up. I don't know why he was setting up football camps in the west of Ireland, but thanks. Great memory, Sean, if you're listening. Um, so that's brilliant. Yeah,
Yeah, and I think if I was to get dropped into football now, um, I don't know who's kind of like like Liverpool, obviously an attractive side to watch. City are an attractive side to watch. So I don't want to say I'd just be one of those leech fans that just pick whoever's the best, but Or maybe just like I don't know. I think I might just pick someone random out of a hat and just decide to support them.
Yeovil Town. Oh God,
Just Yeovil
can I go
Town.
back in? Can I go back into the hat, please?
Oh, but do you feel like you know me better now?
Nathan, I feel like we're brothers, long lost.
Oh, well, let's be long lost brothers forever. And Dara, we will find out more about you. Maybe not
Hopefully.
next week because we've got Celtic Fan TV joining us.
Ooh.
So we'll probably get to know them before you.
Or we could just like ignore them and just
Yeah, just
talk
talk about
about me.
ourselves. Oh, well, thank you very much for listening, guys. This has been the longest and obviously the best podcast we have done so far. It's international break, so there's no football to look forward to.
Well, the Nations League, Nathan.
Yep, England v Iceland. I'm going to predict a resounding football match.
Nil all.
For 90 minutes, there will be football.
That's a
And
good show.
as always, you can go find out what else Project Dits is up to at Project Dits. It's Project then Dits. You can find me at Nathan Greenaway. If you want to hear more from me in your week and in your podcast feed, head over to Rogue Opinions at Rogue_opinion, where you can hear me talking about all sorts of nonsense. Darragh, where can people find you and what else you got going on?
Not much, Nathan. Again, lockdown and everything. But Twitter, if you want to follow me, at Gibbons_Darragh. That's Darragh for Darragh.
Nice. Well,
I
thank you
have
very
to
much.
stress that. Yeah, thanks.
You do. It's not going to be an easy one to spell for those
Not at
without the
all.
knowledge
Never
of
has been.
Ireland. But again, thank you very much for listening, guys. Stay safe, and we'll speak to you again next week.